The importance of the Red Sea cannot be denied. You have 15% of the global seaborne trade that passes through here. And if you look down here, this is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which is an absolutely critical narrow area that ships go through into the Red Sea and then up to the Suez Canal. There were more than a dozen strikes across Yemen from north to south. Across a variety of targets. We're learning more and more by the minute, really, of what these targets were. But they were at least in 5 different locations, if not more, in and around the capital of Sana'a, over here on the western coast of Yemen in Al Hudaydah, and then in several other locations up and down this north-south axis in Yemen.
Breaking news, the U.S. and the United Kingdom are beginning to strike Houthi targets in Yemen. The Iranian-backed militia has launched a constant barrage of drone and missile attacks at ships in the Red Sea, delaying shipping globally. Well, CBS's Nancy Cordes has the very latest now from the White House. Good evening, Nancy. What do we know?
Good evening, Nora. Moments ago, CBS News confirmed that these joint airstrikes by the UK and the US on military positions in Yemen are now underway. This marks the first time the US has fired on Yemen since the Israel-Hamas war began in October. The U.S. has been warning these Iran-backed Houthis that it would hit back after 27 attacks on international shipping in the Red Sea since November. In fact, just on Tuesday, the U.S. Navy had to shoot down 21 Houthi missiles and drones that were fired from Yemen. Those Houthi missiles, by the way, are provided by Iran. Now, the Houthis say their strikes on ships are retaliation for Israeli strikes in Gaza. But a coalition of world leaders, including the U.S. and the U.K., they say these commercial vessels have nothing to do with the conflict. And it isn't just the Houthis that have been targeting commerce in the region. Just today, a Greek oil tanker that was on its way to Turkey was seized by Iran in the Gulf of Oman. And incidents like this are fueling fears, Nora, that this conflict could escalate and eventually draw the U.S. into direct confrontation with Iran.
All right, Nancy Cordes with that breaking news out of the White House. Thank you.
The United States striking the Middle East this hour. A U.S. official telling CNN that right now the U.S. military is carrying out strikes with fighter jets and Tomahawk missiles on Yemen. Their target, Iranian-backed militia Houthis. And these strikes come after an emergency cabinet meeting in the United Kingdom, America's closest ally. To be clear, these strikes in the Middle East are very significant. The United States is now finally taking action, and it could change the Israel-Hamas war into something much bigger. The Houthis have been relentlessly attacking ships in the Red Sea since November. Reports today of another attack, the 27th by the group in the area under 2 months, according to the Pentagon. Now, the Houthis are already vowing to retaliate to any strikes. A senior member moments ago saying, and I quote, "We will confront America, make it kneel down and burn its battleships and all its bases and everyone who cooperates with it, no matter the cost."
I don't think it's a coincidence that the US empire and the UK chose to attack Yemen on the first day of Israel's trial at the ICJ. This is because Yemen was one of the first countries to respond militarily to the genocide Israel was committing in Gaza. Their goal was to set up a blockade to and from Israel for as long as Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. This is why during the ceasefire, Yemen didn't attack a single ship. But instead of the US empire and the UK calling for a ceasefire, they decide to start another war. This in turn sends a message to the rest of the international community that the US empire and the UK intends to continue backing up Israel for their actions, just like how the US and the UK were the last 2 countries to support apartheid South Africa. Also, if you didn't know, Saudi Arabia, with the help of the US empire, has been bombing Yemen for the past 9 years.